Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners. This is your host, Altovise, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. Now, I know you saw the title. Don't shoot the messenger. Listen, I had to put it that way because I needed y'all to come in and actually listen in on this episode. When it comes to weight gain, weight loss, man, the conversations that are being had right now, especially after COVID, have been kind of crazy, right? I know some of you have seen some of the things I've seen when it comes to people either gaining a lot of weight or kind of getting themselves back in shape. And that's why I'm excited about my guest for today. Hello, Franchell. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. This is going to be an amazing episode. So, Franchelle, let the studio audience know a little bit about you, and then we'll go ahead and dive into today's topic.
Perfect. My name is Franchell Hamilton. I am a bariatric surgeon. I do a lot of weight loss and wellness, so it's not just surgery. I actually advertise multiple ways for better health outside of surgery. Actually, I've come out with a couple of books due to this problem of mindset changes and to help educate people on how to live better. And weight is a huge component to it. And I also help other providers and assistance with this. So that's what I do currently.
I love that because it brings us to a perfect place to start. Because a lot of people think that when talking about weight loss, that we're talking about the weight on our body. And so I love that you said the perfect surgery is surgery on the mind because there's some other things that really contribute to our weight gain that we're not paying attention to. So speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And this is kind of the message that I'm trying to send people because after doing bariatric surgery for years, I've had a lot of people regain the weight. And I had to figure out like what's going on. Like they've done the nutrition and the nutrition visits, they've seen the psychologist, they've done the exercise routine. And I found out that it's actually not like the physical weight or the eating, there's other roots that are causing the weight gain that haven't been dealt with. I call them strongholds. And so I almost had to completely redo my process when it came to weight loss programs and even bariatric surgery. I had to kind of identify the roots, the strongholds that sometimes the patients don't even know that they have, whether it's things that they haven't dealt with in the past that they're holding on to, traumatic events, traumatic abuse, it's things that we need to deal with at the root level that actually could be causing your weight gain. Environmental stress from work, from a business, a partner, a relationship. Those are all things that potentially could be causing your weight gain or your medical problem that needs to be addressed, identified, and then treated. So those are kind of the mental surgeries that I now do before initiating any weight loss program or bariatric surgery.
It's important that you said that piece comes before the weight loss program because we can do weight loss programs all listen all the time. We can do the different ones, we can do the protein shakes, we can do the listen, you can jump rope every day if you like, but whatever you're doing, you got to make sure that there's a process to this. There's, some steps. And that first step is looking at the mindset. And with that being said, when it comes time to make these shifts and changes, what should really be the mindset of a person who's saying, you know what, I I'm ready to lose the weight. Uh, enough is enough. Because we know that even in the past, it's been, people can have a mindset of saying, I want to lose the weight, but is it really truly a true mindset of saying that that's what you want to do?
Yeah, you're right. And that's what I was finding too when I really dove in with my patients. So I always like, we've got to take it deeper. And I kind of tell my providers this it's, and people come in and they want to lose weight for multiple reasons. They want to look better, they want to feel healthier, they want to this, they want to that. And I'm like, okay, we need to figure out the why. Why do you want to do this? What is the end goal? and what else is going on. And that's the only true way to defeat weight loss and not regain. A lot of people come in and they want to lose the weight. And so they do the diet, quote unquote, or the exercise or whatever's prescribed, and then they lose the motivation. And so they regain the weight. This is so common. And so, what is the motivation? And some people honestly aren't ready. They think or they feel like they want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds because someone else told them to. Those people typically do not do well. And like I said, they have other strongholds that, yes, needs to be identified before. And especially if you've tried to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds and you keep regaining it, there is a reason why. And it's not necessarily the pill didn't work, the diet didn't work, the exercise didn't work. There's something more internal that's going on, the reason why you're losing motivation. So you have to figure that piece out first in order to be successful long term and permanently.
Yeah, I think the long term is always like, we always think that we're working towards the long term, but yeah, a lot of times we just are looking for the short term gains, right? We're looking for I want to look good for well, now we
Mhm.
can't even say the reunion because we don't know what those are going to look like for a while. So they're only going to see the top part of you right now
Mhm. Mhm.
virtually. But even still, when we think about everybody being home and doing things at home, we're not moving as much. We're not as, we're not going outside most times because, we're at this point nervous to go outside.
Mhm.
And so, um, for those who have been inside and they're saying, okay, I think I want to, start working on my health, what would be the first thing that you would say to them, if they're like still teetering on if they want to go ahead and actually go down this rabbit hole?
Well, the first thing you have to figure out is your why. What is your why and what is your motivation? Is it just to get healthier? Do you have a medical problem that you're trying to overcome? Do you know somebody who had a medical problem because of their weight? Do you just feel bad now? A lot of people, believe it or not, their weight then contributes to depression and anxiety, and then they're just feeling a slum, and you've got to almost like take it back, like, what's causing me to feel like this? Well, it could be the weight gain that you've packed on that's actually helping you, making you not feel good. And so that right there should be a motivator to be your why. So one of the first things is finding your motivator. The other thing I say, wake up every day saying you can. I can. I a lot of times in my practice get what you can't do. So I'm like, forget that. Let's start what you can do, right? Instead of me just giving you a list, a laundry list of things that you need to get started on, what is something that you want to do? How about that? And something that you can do that's a healthy activity. So I start a lot with that. What do you want? And then that's healthy. And then of that, what can you start with? That's easy. People can easily find joy in those things, right? I talk about maintaining, the way you maintain weight is self-care, and not the commercialized self-care, but almost like a self check-in. What do I need? What is lacking? What do I need to grow and continue to be productive? And a lot of that is found in little things that bring you joy. So is it taking your dog for a walk? Is it meditating? Is it maybe building a garden? Like, find healthy ways, things that you want to do that you feel like you can do right now. So that's where I would start. Things that you like that would bring you joy. That's healthy.
I love that. I know I've been seeing a lot more people go back to old school stuff. So jumping rope and roller skating have been the top two that I've seen. And I'm like, I don't think I can put on a pair of skates. I don't know how that would would turn out. But I'm watching people get back to that joy and just go roller skating. I'm watching
Mhm.
people go back to that joy and jump rope and do it consistently, and that be the catalyst for them to be able to go ahead and start, getting into that healthier lifestyle. Now, another thing that often comes up when we talk about dieting and we talk about weight loss and healthy lifestyle is the snacking. I am a snacker. And so I know for me, that was a huge issue. So I had to really change what was going on in the home, and what I could actually eat and what I, didn't eat. But I knew that literally, even to the point where when I stressed, I would snack on chips and things, but I would also snack on ice. And it would be like frustration, let me go to the ice tray. And that's not something that people would actually confess to. I know SpeakEasy audience, you're like, what? Wait a minute. Is that really a thing? And so can you speak to that a little bit? Because I've had people say, okay, well, of course you need to check your iron and you need you need to see there was something else that they were saying, oh, well, you need to check this with your doctor. And then it wasn't until maybe about a year ago that I had a client that was like, no, that's an addiction. And so speak to that because I think people don't realize that some of these um, habits, unhealthy habits that we've been using are actually addictions. And we need to kind of change that.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because that's kind of one of my concerns in the general medical world. Like they're not recognizing these things. They don't recognize it, and the patient or the client is not going to recognize it. They don't know. And that's kind of one of the things is putting two and two together, right? Because a lot of people snack, you're right, because of emotions, because of stress, and they go to food. Some people don't even realize they're doing it. So I always say kind of the one of the first steps is awareness or identification of your bad habit. And so unless you or somebody asks you, you may not even know or realize that you're doing it. So yes, chips is common and sweets is common. Whenever somebody's emotionally stressed or stressed, and that's probably the majority of the weight gain during the pandemic, to be honest, is the snacking, right? And so a lot of times it's once you identify it, and then you have to switch over those snacks, right, to something more healthier, which you probably know that. And yes, the ice, there's certain things that will trigger cravings from a vitamin deficiency. So yes, iron, vitamin D, there are certain lack of vitamins that can trigger certain cravings. And that's one of the ways the body's saying you're lacking this. So it almost like in your brain, it forces you to want this. That's one of the arms, so to speak. But yeah, another arm is an addiction. There are certain foods that trigger dopamine, which is like almost like one of the happy hormones in your brain, and serotonin releases. And I am big, food addiction has not been recognized by the medical society as an actual addiction like drugs and alcohol, and it needs to. This is so frustrating to me because there have been multiple studies that show certain foods, chips being one, a lot of sweets being one, will trigger these hormone releases in the brain. It makes you feel good temporarily, just like a drug would. And then that almost repeats itself in the sense of addiction. And then when you stop doing those things cold turkey, people truly do relapse because they're not getting those same foods. So there's ways to kind of withdraw from that without going through the relapse. But yes, certain foods in certain people, not everybody. For you, it's chips. For somebody else, it may be ice cream. For somebody else, it may be, but it triggers the same response as though you were to drink alcohol or heroin or cocaine. It releases the same hormones for some people, and that can be addiction and it needs to be addressed. But more importantly, it needs to be recognized. If the provider doesn't know, how are you supposed to know? You know, most people don't know that the food they're eating is triggering an addiction for them. They don't know that. And so it just needs, people just need to be made aware of this thing.
Thank you for saying that.
Mm,
It wasn't until that person said that, and then I paid attention to it. It
mm,
took me some time, but I paid attention to it, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. We have to replace this with a healthier habit.
mm,
Let me go ahead, and I went ahead and got rid of the ice trays, and I said, okay, no, we got to figure something else out. But it's like I know that there's a process that you have to go through and, kind of changing that up. And so I think Speakeasy listeners, the reason why I'm telling you this is that as entrepreneurs, we tend to snack more, we tend to go through a lot of stress, and we can have some very unhealthy habits that start to build. I've always been an ice eater. I've been an ice eater since I was a child.
Mhm.
But with everything that was going on in the last several years, with the business and trying to get things together, and then within the last year with COVID, I found myself eating more of it. And that's when I saw, okay, there is a problem here. There really is a problem. And so the best way to get help is to seek having that conversation with someone who understands, somebody who knows. So reach out. With that being said, Franchell, let them know how they can reach out to you and where they can find you at online.
So the name of my practice for patients is A Better Way Center. I'm located in Texas. I do virtual though now because of the pandemic. So I actually can see people from all over. And then that's www.abetterwaycenter.com. And my other website for like book information and other information is www.dr-hamilton.com. And so I completely agree with you. Seek help if you feel like you're picking up bad habits. You need to be able to identify that you have the bad habit, and then you need to be able to have somebody who can understand and then exchange it for a healthy habit. So that's kind of one of the first steps. I love your jump rope comment because I actually started doing that, like just jump 10 minutes, a minute for 1 minute, 10 times a day. You'd be surprised how much calories that you can burn. And especially as business owners, we need to find a different outlet that has to be healthy. Has to be healthy. We have to find another outlet. So I agree.
I love this. This is why I bring the people on the show, guys, that you really need. And we have the conversations that are not necessarily being had by other people, but that are necessary for us to become successful. We do not want to go to a higher level of success and have unhealthy habits because it won't benefit us. It means nothing to be able to make six figures and then not be able to enjoy it. You can't travel. You can't, go and do the things that you wanted to do when you got to this level because you're not in a good, healthy space. And so trust me, as an entrepreneur, as a mompreneur, there were things that I said I gotta stop doing and I gotta switch some things up. And that's why I can be transparent with you guys because I know that a lot of you are in that same space. And listen, this is all for you because guess what? Without the Speak Easy podcast listeners, there is no Speak Easy podcast. And so I appreciate each and every one of you that reach out to me, those of you that follow up after listening to an episode and say, oh my goodness, that episode was for me. I appreciate it. Continue to come and join the conversation. bit.ly/World Voice Community. Join the free Facebook group. Let us know how this episode resonated with you. Reach out. Reach out if you are in need of services, if you are in need of support, because guess what? We want to see you rise and win. We want to see you rise and win. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. This was another episode of the Speak Easy podcast with your host, Altovise. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.